My name is Emily Hart, and the last message my mother ever sent me wasn't an apology. It wasn't love. It wasn't even anger. It was 8 cold words on my phone screen. You're not family. Don't come back here. No explanation, no warning, just a digital exile on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I remember exactly where I was when it happened, sitting in my tiny office cubicle in Seattle, Washington, eating leftover pasta and finishing quarterly expense reports. My phone buzzed, and for a moment, I actually smiled, thinking Mom was checking in. But the moment I opened the message, it felt like someone punched a hole straight through my chest. I stared at those words for a full minute, waiting for a just kidding follow up, some kind of context, anything that made it hurt less. Nothing came. A minute later, I saw she had removed me from the family group chat, the one filled with photos, jokes, and plans I was rarely included in anyway. Then another notification popped up. Mom changed the lock code for home. Home. The place I grew up in. The place I helped pay for. A house where my name wasn't on any wall, any photo, any memory they valued. I set my fork down. My hands trembled slightly, but not out of fear. It was the first time in my life that I fully understood something. My family didn't see me as their daughter. They saw me as their wallet. For years, I'd paid their phone bills, electricity, car insurance, anything they couldn't manage. I did it quietly, thinking it was love. But that message changed everything. I didn't reply. I didn't beg. I simply stared at the words that freed me. Because they had no idea. What happens when the person they cut off is the one controlling every bill they depend on? I didn't respond to my mom's message. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared for far too long. Growing up, I was always the quiet kid, the one who didn't cause trouble, the one who blended into the background while my brother Liam was the family superstar. Everything he did was celebrated. Sports trophies, mediocre grades, even his mistakes were treated like charming stories. Me? I was the built-in helper. Emily, can you babysit? Emily, can you handle the bills? Emily, Liam needs gas money. Transfer it from your account. Emily, you're responsible. He's still figuring life out. He was 27, I was 25, and I was the one paying half the mortgage on a house I didn't live in. I didn't complain. I convinced myself it was family duty, that taking care of them meant they would eventually take care of me. But slowly, things changed. Whenever I visited, Mom grew colder. Liam made jokes about how boring my job was. Family dinners felt like auditions I kept failing. Last Christmas, my mom introduced Liam's girlfriend to guests as like a daughter to me, while I stood 3 feet away holding a tray of food. That one hurt, but I swallowed it like I swallowed everything else. Then came last month, when I told Mom I couldn't cover the internet and power bill that week because I was saving for my own apartment deposit. Her reaction wasn't disappointment, it was fury. How ungrateful can you be? She snapped. We raised you. You owe us. Owe, that word kept echoing in my head. So when her final message came, you're not family. Don't come back here. It didn't break me. It revealed the truth I'd been avoiding. I was only family as long as I paid. And this time, I wasn't paying. That night, after my mom declared I was not family, I sat alone in my small Seattle apartment, staring at the ceiling. It wasn't sadness keeping me awake, it was clarity. A clarity I should have found years ago. My entire life, I believed love meant sacrifice. Their comfort mattered more than my stability. Their bills mattered more than my savings. Their approval mattered more than my self-respect. But that message finally snapped the thread that had been choking me for years. The next morning, I opened my laptop and logged into all the accounts I managed. Accounts they assumed they had lifetime access to. Car insurance, under my name. Phone plan, under my name. Internet, under my name. Utilities, under my name. Streaming services, all under my cards. They never once asked, is this too much for you? Do you need help? Are you okay? They just expected me to handle everything because I always did. Not anymore. I clicked on the phone plan first. 4 lines. Mom, Liam, Dad, and, ironically, Mom's favorite daughter, Liam's girlfriend. I hovered over the button for 1 second, then clicked, remove user, remove user, remove user, remove user. The account shrank from 4 lines to 1, mine. Next, I opened the utilities. Electricity, gas, water, internet. Each one had the same option: disconnect service. My fingers were steady as I confirmed every shutdown. Not out of spite, not for revenge, but because helping people who hurt you isn't love, it's self-destruction. Within 15 minutes, the entire financial chain tying me to that house was severed. One click at a time. They told me I wasn't family. Fine. By noon the next day, the fallout began. The first call came from Mom, then the second, then the third. I didn't answer any of them. By the fourth missed call, she switched to texts. Why isn't the Wi-Fi working? Emily, the phones are disconnected. Fix it. Are you messing with the bills? No. Hello? No. How are you? Just panic, because their comfort was suddenly threatened. An hour later, Liam texted, "Internet's down. I have a game tonight. Turn it back on." I stared at the message, remembering every time he mocked me for wasting money on boring adult things. Utilities are boring until you need them. Then a message from Dad. "Your mother is upset. Resolve whatever you did." Resolve? As if I had broken something. As if their message, "You're not family," meant nothing. I put my phone face down and returned to work. The quiet hum of the office felt peaceful, grounding. But my peace didn't last long. At 3:17 p.m., Mom sent the message I knew was coming. "Did you shut everything off?" Still, I didn't reply. At 3:19 p.m., another one. "Emily, answer me right now." And then the mask finally slipped. "We depended on you. You can't just cut us off like this." Depended. Not loved, not valued, just depended. By evening, their panic grew into desperation. The power company had already sent them a shutoff notice. Their car insurance app showed inactive. Their phones were still dead. I imagined the chaos in that house. Liam yelling, Mom pacing, Dad trying to reset the router for the 10th time. Meanwhile, I cooked dinner, lit a candle, and sat in the quiet. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one scrambling to fix their lives. They told me I wasn't family. So why were they acting shocked? When I finally started living like it, family privileges were officially gone. The next morning, I woke up to 23 missed calls. 6 from Mom, 9 from Liam, 4 from Dad, 4 from a random number I didn't recognize, probably Mom using the neighbor's phone. But the message waiting for me at the top? That one made me exhale slowly. "Mom, Emily, please answer. Everything is falling apart. We can't manage. The house feels like it's breaking." Breaking. Because they couldn't stream their shows? Because Liam couldn't play video games? Because they finally had to pay for their own comfort? I made coffee and sat by the window while reading the rest. "Mom, the power company says the account is closed. Your father is furious. Do you realize what you've done to this family?" To this family? Funny how suddenly I was family again when the bills disappeared. At noon, Liam's message came. "Seriously, Emily, grow up and turn everything back on." The same brother who once told me, "No one would notice if you left," was now demanding I fix his life. I didn't reply to him either, but the message that followed, that one surprised me. It was Dad. "Your mother is crying. Come talk to us." Crying? My mom, the woman who once told me tears were manipulation from weak people, was crying because she had to call a utility company herself. I should have felt pity. I didn't. By evening, they tried a different tactic. "Mom, Emily, sweetheart, can we have dinner tomorrow? Just to talk?" Dinner, where they would sit me down, pretend nothing happened, and try to guilt me back into responsibility. But I wasn't the same Emily anymore. I put my phone down, finished my work emails, and made myself dinner for one. Their world was collapsing because I stepped out. Mine was finally beginning to feel whole. I agreed to the dinner, not because I wanted reconciliation, but because I wanted closure. We met at Willow Creek Diner, the same place we used to visit when I was a kid. Back then, I'd sit between Mom and Dad, coloring menus while they sipped coffee and talked about Liam's latest achievements. This time, I sat alone at a booth while the three of them approached looking exhausted, irritated, and desperate. Mom sat down first, forcing a shaky smile. "Emily, you look thin. Are you eating properly?" I almost laughed. The same woman who told me last month, "You're not my responsibility," was suddenly worried about my diet. Dad cleared his throat. "Your mother is stressed. This situation has been hard on all of us." I folded my hands. "What situation?" Mom flinched. "You know, sweetheart, the bills, the house, everything." Family. There was that word again. The one they only remembered when they needed something. I stayed silent. Mom took a deep breath. "Look, Emily, we may have overreacted. The message I sent. I stopped her with a raise of my hand. "No, you reacted exactly how you feel." Her lips trembled. "That's not true." "It is," I said calmly. "You said I'm not family, so I removed myself from family responsibilities." Dad's jaw tightened. "You're being dramatic." I looked him straight in the eyes. "For years, you let me pay for everything without asking if I could afford it. That wasn't dramatic?" Liam scoffed. "So what now? You're punishing us?" I shook my head. "No, I'm setting boundaries, real ones." Mom whispered, "We can't handle all this alone." There it was, the truth, not love, not remorse, just fear of losing the convenience I provided. I leaned back. That's not my burden anymore. Their faces drained of color. For the first time ever, the power in this family wasn't theirs. It was mine. The air in the diner booth grew heavy, tight, like the walls themselves were leaning in. My family sat across from me stunned, not because they didn't understand what I was saying, but because they never expected I would ever say it. Mom tried again, voice trembling like she was auditioning for sympathy. "Emily, sweetheart, you know we love you. Families fight sometimes." I stared at her calmly. "You didn't fight, Mom. You cut me off. Officially, in writing." She opened her mouth, but I continued. "You said, 'You're not family, don't come back here.' So I listened." Dad rubbed his forehead. "You're misinterpreting. Your mother was upset." I tilted my head slightly. "And when I told you last month that I couldn't afford the bills anymore, were you upset then too? Or were you just angry because you'd lose free service?" Liam sighed loudly. "Emily, nobody is perfect. We all say things we don't mean." "Oh, really?" I leaned forward. "When you told me I was lucky to be included, did you not mean that either?" He stiffened. Mom looked away. Dad muttered, "We didn't realize you felt so burdened." Burdened, such a delicate word for what they did. I took a slow breath. "For years, you treated me like a provider, not a daughter. Like a bank, like a backup plan. Not once did you ask how I was doing." Mom whispered, "We didn't know you were struggling." "Because you never asked." Silence again. Sharp, bitter, undeniable. Then Dad leaned in. "So what do you want? What will make you turn everything back on?" There it was. The real reason for this dinner, not healing, not understanding. Transaction. I smiled softly. "Nothing," I said. "I'm not turning anything back on." Mom's eyes widened. "You can't be serious." "I am." Liam slammed his hand on the table. "This isn't fair." I stood up, grabbing my coat. Neither was the last 25 years. And with that, I walked out, leaving behind 3 people who had never expected the quiet one to walk away first. 2 days passed before I heard from them again. I thought maybe they had finally understood, finally accepted the boundary, finally realized I meant every word I said. I was wrong. At 6:42 a.m., my phone buzzed nonstop. 5 messages, then 9 more, then 3 missed calls. Mom was spiraling. "Mom, Emily, the power is still off. We can't cook or heat the house. Your father says this is getting ridiculous. Liam has work today and his car insurance is inactive. Fix this now. Enough games." Games. That word told me everything. To her, my pain, my years of sacrifice, my boundaries were all just inconveniences. At 7:10 a.m., Mom sent another message. "Emily, I know you're awake. Don't ignore me." But I didn't respond. At 8:32 a.m., Liam finally exploded. "Liam, thanks to you, my paycheck is going to late fees. You're a child." Funny. The child was the one who had paid all his adult bills. At 9:15 a.m., Dad joined in. "Dad, your mother and I cannot afford to handle everything at once. This is too much." And there it was again. The truth beneath every word. They weren't hurting because they lost me. They were hurting because they lost my money. By noon, the tone changed. Mom began sending voice notes, her voice shaking, breath uneven. Emily, I shouldn't have said what I said. I didn't mean it. You know, parents get emotional sometimes. We made a mistake, sweetheart. Just turn the bills back on and we'll talk properly. Translation: We regret losing free labor, not losing you. I listened to all 3 voice notes without responding. Then came the final message of the day. Mom, if you don't fix this today, you're destroying this family. I set my phone down because I finally understood. I didn't destroy anything. I simply stopped holding up a structure that was already broken. By the 3rd day, the chaos inside their house reached a level I could practically feel through the phone. Their texts had shifted from anger to fear, to something more unsettling: dependence. At 10:08 a.m., Mom sent a long message. Emily, you don't understand how many responsibilities we have. Your father's hours were cut. Liam's job barely covers anything. We relied on you because you're stable. Isn't that what family does? Family, again. Always the word they hid behind. I typed something, then deleted it. I wouldn't explain myself again. They didn't deserve explanations. At noon, my phone rang. It was Aunt Marlene, my mom's older sister, the only relative who ever treated me like a real person. I answered. Her voice was low. Emily, what's happening? Your mother called me in tears. I sighed. They told me I'm not family, so I stepped back. Aunt Marlene was quiet for a long moment. Then she whispered, That sounds exactly like something your mother would say. She asked me to meet her for lunch, and I did. We sat at a small cafe near the pier, the ocean wind brushing over us as she studied my face. You look calmer, she said gently. Almost like you're finally breathing. I am, I admitted. When I explained everything, the bills, the message, the diner meeting, the shutdowns, she didn't judge me. She didn't scold me. She nodded. They raised you to believe your worth came from how much you could give, she said. And the moment you stopped giving, they panicked. Her words settled deep. I hadn't destroyed the family. I had only stopped playing their role for me. Aunt Marlene squeezed my hand. You have every right, she whispered, to walk away from people who only come to you empty-handed. For the first time in days, I felt understood. Not by my parents, not by Liam, but by someone who actually saw me. That evening, after talking with Aunt Marlene, I returned home feeling lighter, but also clearer. This wasn't just about bills. This was about protection. My protection. I opened my laptop again and logged into the remaining accounts, not out of spite, but to cleanly sever every financial tie they had quietly wrapped around me for years. The first one I checked, the mortgage account. I had been contributing half the payment every month for 3 years, even though the house wasn't mine. Dad once told me my name would eventually be added to the ownership. He lied. My name wasn't on the deed, not even on the loan. Just the payment history, quietly supporting a home I'd been locked out of. I sat back in my chair, exhaling. Enough. I printed all transaction records with my contribution, every payment, every timestamp. Not to confront them, but to protect myself legally. Next, I checked an old credit card I had forgotten about. One I opened at 18 when Mom said she needed help rebuilding her credit. It had a balance, a large one, almost entirely from charges I didn't recognize. Grocery store runs, spa payments, online shopping orders, car repairs, all under my name. I froze. All these years, I thought I had cleared it, but Mom had kept using it, without telling me. I called the bank immediately. They confirmed every transaction was linked to my mother's IP address. My fingers tightened around the phone. This wasn't just emotional dependence, it was financial exploitation. The representative asked, Would you like to freeze this card and dispute the unauthorized charges? I took a breath. Yes, I said. Freeze everything. As the bank closed the account, the reality hit me like a slow, undeniable wave. My family hadn't just used me. They had built their entire stability on me, quietly, confidently, without hesitation. And now, their entire foundation was gone. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted freedom. The next morning, my phone rang again, but this time I answered. Not out of regret, out of certainty. It was my mother. She didn't yell. She didn't accuse. She sounded scared. Emily, she said quietly, we got notices from the bank. The card is frozen. The mortgage company says there's missing documentation. What did you do? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shake. I didn't apologize. I cleaned up everything that was in my name, I said. That's all? Mom's breath hitched. You're tearing this family apart. No, I replied. I'm stepping out of the role you forced me into. Dad grabbed the phone then. His voice was sharper. You can't just cut us out financially. We depended on that. You know that. I closed my eyes. Yes, I said softly. I know. You depended on me for everything, and that's the problem. There was silence on the other end. Real silence. Not anger, not manipulation. Just the sound of people realizing their safety net was gone. Mom came back on, her voice cracking. We didn't mean what we said. You are family. We were upset. I let her words hang. Then I said the truth I had carried for years. You loved what I did for you. Not me. Mom sobbed. Emily, please. We need you. I swallowed. I needed you too, I whispered. And you told me I wasn't family. Dad spoke again, quieter. So that's it? You're done? Yes, I said. For good. Before they could respond, I ended the call. No dramatic speeches, no final fight, just truth and freedom. I blocked their numbers, filed fraud reports for the credit card, documented every payment I ever made. Then I walked outside into the cold Seattle air. For the first time in my life, my world wasn't built around fixing theirs. They lost their bills, their comfort, their control, their access to my life. And I gained something far greater. Myself.